Welcome to the Home Pro Podcast, your source for expert insights and practical tips from the leading minds in home services. Get ready to conquer your local market with your host and founder of Big Fish Local, Seth Evans.
Seth Evans here. I am the host of the Big Fish Local podcast, where we explore how digital marketing can empower small business professionals to become the big fish in their local pond. Join us for insights and strategies that drive growth and success. Big Fish Local is your trusted partner in navigating the digital landscape. Our dedicated team specializes in creating impactful digital marketing strategies tailored to your business needs. From optimizing your website for search engines to enhancing your presence on social media, we are here to help you thrive in your local market. Discover the potential of your business with Big Fish Local's comprehensive marketing solutions. For more on how we can boost your online visibility and drive growth, visit bigfishlocal.org. Today, I'll be interviewing Maria Wehmeyer of Ivory Meadows. Nestled on 83 acres of natural country beauty, Ivory Meadows offers gorgeous hilltop views and breathtaking sunsets. This elegant barn-style wedding venue offers you all the modern amenities and conveniences for your big day. Maria, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Seth. I appreciate that.
Oh, yes, I am just delighted to have you here. And Maria and I have been working together for several years now, and it's just been
hmm
really a blessing and a joy to see how your business has grown over that time and all of the neat things that you guys are doing over there at the venue. But I have some questions for you. This is all about you today, Maria. So my
Okay.
first question is, how did you get started in the wedding business?
Yeah, so I had a dream about it. I guess the seed was planted when we lived on our farm and we had a very, very old barn there and the structure was beautiful and that kind of got my wheels turning like this could be a neat wedding venue. We had another business before and when we decided to dissolve that business, that opened the door for our wedding venue. And like I said, I love planning. I've always been the person to plan and organize no matter what organization I was involved in. And so this was always from early on when we lived on the farm to know that people needed a space. I saw my friends starting to get to that age of weddings, to get married, and they were driving far. And I always thought, well, our area has a need for a venue, and I could fulfill that need in our area. And so I just started doing a lot of research and lots of time online, putting a vision together. But that is what sparked it. Everything had to align for us as far as our previous business and the new and taking on this venture. So did a lot of praying about it actually, and the timing worked out well for us. And so we decided to take that leap of faith, and started to build a venue.
That is a really cool story, and I didn't know it kind of started with a dream, that of what that could be. And as
Yes.
you're looking back, on those early days of getting everything off the ground, I mean, we've been doing Big Fish Local now for 11 years, and it's just amazing to me how much things have changed over that amount of time. And I'm sure some of that same is true for you. Back in those early days, what was it like?
So first, I mean, early planning, my website had to go live or did go live the week that we broke ground. So as you know, starting any business, there's so much pre-planning ahead. So I had to find a mentor. Um, I looked a lot of pictures online. I traveled a couple states in the South to tour venues and shared my story with other venue owners to get their feedback. And some of that I did on a consulting basis so that I could help pull my vision together, what I saw was going to be best for our area. And so that was the very pre. planning of starting the venue. And as we grew and we grew pretty quickly, then it was implementing processes and gathering a team and training, and which is all ongoing. But the early days was a lot of hours. As anyone knows, starting up a business was a lot of hours, and I was doing everything myself. I spent lots of hours in the very wee hours of the morning just reading, constant reading, and gathering information, researching, answering emails while I was under construction. Because, like I said, I was doing tours, I was gathering information, I was doing the little marketing I was doing. It was all on me. So those early days are very time consuming, but it's worth it in the end. It's you reap the benefits of that, and so that was the early days. So now I have a team that supports me, but as you know, that's ongoing training, and but that's all a good positive thing for your team for Ivy Meadows.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know that when you had this vision of creating this new venue, it wasn't just about being another wedding venue. I mean, like all the rest, you had something in mind that you wanted to set Ivory Meadows apart and be different than just like your everyday venue that you can find anywhere. What was that for you that you really wanted to be known for, that you really wanted to stand out with?
Yeah, we really focus on our service at Ivory Meadows. I feel like to be successful, you have to have quality and you have to have service. So when we were building the venue, I obviously focused on certain qualities, building the venue, certain decor items that are appealing, and if you're going to be at a certain price point that you have to have. So the quality of the building and the amenities that we have were very important, but also I wanted the business to be family focused and service focused. So I think a lot of people I felt that people I wanted to be able to be that leader and assist people through their wedding process. I didn't want to be the venue where it's like, here's your wedding date, and then we'll see you the day before. We are with them. We always tell our couples, we're here to serve you. And if you have questions along the way, we're happy to help you. Our software program that they have access to assists in that process as well, that guides them through everything. And but our team, I have hired people with great hearts that serve people well, and that is what we're about at Ivory Meadows. We want to, like I said earlier, we people invested too much time and money in a wedding day. It's a very special event. It's one day that you're going to have all of your loved ones gathered for you, and you want to be present, enjoy the moment. And we focus on the services taking away all the logistics for our couples. We are there executing everything, all the little details, so that we can support our families and our bridal parties, that they don't have to do that part. That's on us. So that's where I wanted to be separate from our competition. So the service and the quality are very important, and we strive all the time to training, but also keeping up our building and adding enhancements to it is very important to us.
I love that focus on service. I always think about how, as a marketing company, we can do all the work we need to do to get people to visit the website or to visit in person at a business's location, get them to call or book a tour. But beyond that point, it's kind of out of our hands. It's really the service that you offer that keeps people coming back. That's what gets them telling all their friends and family about the experience. That's what makes them willing to offer a premium price for
Mhm.
for a venue or any type of business. So that really sharp focus that you have on providing excellent service, I think, is so important.
Yes,
I'm
it is
Go ahead.
very important. You know, I think it's something that has lacked in different areas too of other companies. I always go back to the people that will answer my questions and help find the answer to something. And that is what we strive to do at Ivory Meadows is we're there every step of the way. They have access to us, and it does really go a long way. And it's great to see happy couples. And like you said, it pays dividends in the future that they can recommend you.
I know one thing that a lot of business owners struggle with, especially when they're first starting, and I imagine even more so in the venue business, is filling up the calendar and getting clients in those early days because you just don't have that word of mouth, hasn't built up yet to a critical mass. You haven't been established long enough for everyone in the area to know you exist. So, a question I had for you is what gave you the most traction and results that you were able to start seeing, predictable, reliable business coming in?
So, well, since I've been working with you, the SEO is definitely a big thing. That is one thing I learned it early on. I did minimal marketing. It was just basically more the free stuff or the lower budget stuff on Facebook or Facebook ads. Very little Instagram at that time. I was doing it by myself. I wasn't the young generation of being on Instagram. And like I said, I was wearing several hats all by myself, so that wasn't a focus of mine. So I do think that the little that I had, but also that I was building during COVID, and then when things were shut down and people did start to hear a little bit through the word of mouth and also the little bit that was on social media, that did help my bookings that first full year, as I had 86 weddings that first full year after COVID. And that got obviously a lot of people through the door, which helped with the word of mouth there. And but I definitely have seen the value in SEO work that Big Fish has done for us, and we just continue to, build that. And but word of mouth is huge. So that is where the comes back to that service is you have to have quality and service to have people recommend you that you continue to have those weddings. And I would say probably 50% of our inquiries come through word of mouth, personal referrals, vendor referrals.
Yeah, that's perfect. I always say nothing can truly replace word of mouth marketing because that has to be for most businesses one of the most important staples of their marketing strategy. And so getting the most out of that word of mouth is huge, whether it's on the service end where you just over deliver every time. So you increase the likelihood that you'll get that word of mouth. Or one thing I know that you do as well is you tell the stories yourself, both on social media and in your reputation marketing, where you ask people to leave feedback and then you share that feedback so other people can kind of have what I would call secondary word of mouth, or it's the next
Hmm.
best thing to word of mouth. So, so that I think that's really good. And for those business owners that are listening, I would say for almost any business in any vertical, that is critical, building that reputation over time.
Yeah, absolutely.
As you're thinking about the things that have changed over the years, were there some big turning points or milestones that you're especially proud of?
Oh boy. Um, I'm really proud of my team. I I've grown. I have 48 people on staff, and I know I went to a couple venue trainings this past last year in 25. And when I told them how many weddings I do a year and what my team looks like, everyone was very shocked that I'm running it that way because a lot of people maybe have 6 to 10. And because I don't work every event, I mean, I'm averaging 70 weddings a year, and so I can't physically, mentally uh, do all those myself. I did the first year when we were open only 6 months. I had to work all those weddings myself, and then train every event. I took on a new event manager or a new team and trained them at every event. So they were training under me. Um, but I would say having great people work for you that are invested in your company, that they truly do care, is huge. And you're not going to get it perfect every time. There's going to be a handful that just don't maybe meet the quite the standards that you're reaching for, and those things are hard. But I have grown a great team, and I'm ever so proud of them. And so I think that's huge. We continue to do enhancements every year. And like again, I think that's really important. You just can't stay status quo. If you do, you're going to get behind quick. And that is where you have to just keep investing and making things better in your building as well. And so that's what we continue to do. And we continue to have in training just to always fine tune. So that's really important. So I think those two things stand out. Like I'm really proud of my team and our property and how we take care of it.
Yeah, I think that's really critical. I always think if I had to choose between having an amazing team and the best product, it'd be really tough because if you don't have a great team, it doesn't matter how good your product is. Now, of course, if you don't have a great product, but you have an amazing team, it's hard. It's still it's still hard,
Yeah.
right? But
Yep.
focusing on that culture and the ongoing improvement and training in your team, and then also doing the same with the venue, making sure you're always keeping that up to date and adding to it. I think that's a really smart thing to do. And I do see that for other business owners, that can be a pitfall where they'll have a really good product, but they just don't have a really strong team that can execute it. Or they assume that by having a great product, that it'll always be great, and they don't need to keep improving and changing and adapting and growing it. And so, sounds like you've got both. You're working on both sides of that, which I think is really smart.
Yeah, thanks. And it's always, as you know, it's always ongoing. You keep up with trends. You have to um, keep up with the competition, basically, or rise above it and make that all work for your business. I mean, you can't go too crazy, or then you'll put yourself out of business. But you always have to work on that. So it's always finding that balance of the enhancements of what you can do without risking too much on your business too, on the bottom line.
Absolutely. And of course, we can learn a lot of great lessons from success, but sometimes some of the best lessons are also learned through our mistakes or our own pitfalls. And I'm
Mhm.
sure, like many business owners, you've had your share of those. Are there any that kind of stand out in your mind as an especially, um, memorable moment where you learned something from it? You wish it would have gone one way, it went a different way, but because of that, maybe you came out ahead. If you could paint a picture for us for one of those, that would be really interesting to hear about too.
Uh, um, I think a big thing I learned is weddings have a lot of vendors on the day of, right? To have to execute the wedding. You have a caterer, you have a DJ, you have a cake person, you have hair and makeup, you have bartending, you have a lot of different vendors. And one thing I learned was not all vendors give the same service. And I just assumed, and I have learned not to assume anything anymore, that people would have the same level of service that I was expecting and hoping. And when we had that first year of opening, and I saw lots of different vendors come through the venue, you learn really quick who's professional, who has quality, and
Mm.
who doesn't. And so that that was huge to sort out and how to approach couples and recommending them of what makes a good wedding event. And so that was a big learning curve of vendors. And then I think that also the big learning curve was when I mentioned not assuming anything. You can't assume that certain people are going to give a certain level of service. So having that open communication and just reviewing things that everybody's on the same page. I have to now train my team to ask certain questions. And so they have a whole document timeline that prompts them to ask all these different questions so that we don't miss anything and we're not surprised by something on the day of the wedding, like, oh, this vendor showed up and we didn't know this person was coming, type thing. So those were some of the early things that happened. They didn't, break a wedding or anything like that, but just as the flow of a wedding and for confidence in my team that they knew what to expect throughout the day, we have better processes in place so that we do know what is happening and things just run more seamless. So,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
good. In any business, whether it's a wedding venue or an auto mechanic or a digital marketing company, it doesn't really matter. You always have partners that you have to work with, some by choice that you get to choose, and others that maybe you have chosen for you just by virtue of, your clientele and the people they work with.
Mhm.
And navigating those relationships is definitely really critical. And learning, like you said, which partners are going to be great partners to work with, which ones are a little bit quirky and need their own way of doing things, and then others that maybe you just would prefer not to work with again in the future. So
Yeah.
that's I'm glad that you highlighted that.
Yeah.
You mentioned earlier on in our conversation that there was a mentor, maybe a couple of mentors that kind of guided you in the early days and maybe still do. I don't know. Do you want to give a shout out to any of those folks?
So I have a mentor in Tennessee, and her name is Jackie. And Jackie, yeah, shout out to her. I connected with her way beyond we breaking ground. I showed her our blueprints and everything, and she really, I structured my business after hers, and she was a huge, huge help. And that's what I encourage other business owners to do. I didn't live and breathe this. I knew I could do it. I ran our previous business, so I knew what was involved, but it wasn't a wedding venue. So to get insight on that was very helpful. So I think, yeah, she was awesome. My husband was incredible. Could not do it without my husband. And my kids. My kids gave me great input. I always tell people I have great bride and groom suites, but my oldest told me early on, like I said, way before I was in the very early blueprint stages, and he called me up and he said he was at a wedding venue and he was in the wedding and he said, Mom, if you build this wedding venue, you've got to make a good groom suite because we get gypped everywhere we go. And so I modified it, made it bigger and better, and added all these extra amenities for the guys, and they love it. So my family knew of my dream very early on. They knew it for a long, long time, never shared it with anybody, and they would give me pointers. And my daughter came to work for us after she graduated in hospitality, and she's huge. We can bounce so much off of each other. So, but working with some, big fish early on, you helped me do flyers, and just knowing some of those basic marketing tools was huge. So, yeah, I think those would be the two biggest. But I also had a few handful of friends that helped me early on and with those first few events, and I most of them are still with me, and I appreciate that they have, you know, stayed with me all along. They always say, "Man, the changes you've made in just, the 4.5 years since you've been open is amazing." And so I appreciate their loyalty and support.
Absolutely. I've heard that you are the average of the 10 people that you surround yourself with the most. So it sounds like you've been surrounding yourself with some really good people and that's made a huge difference in
Yep.
your business and probably in your personal life as well.
Yeah, and you're right. It is who you surround yourself with, and always trying to learn more. And elevating your own game, and that means surrounding yourself with people that are smarter than you and everything. So I work on that all the time. I love learning about the industry and just the more I can get about the business, I just love it.
I think that makes a difference too. I mean, if you enjoy your subject matter, if you enjoy your business, that absolutely helps a lot. I know business owners who have gotten into their particular business because they wanted to make money, which isn't necessarily a bad thing on its own, but they weren't really passionate about their businesses and they've always struggled the most. Whereas folks that really enjoy what they're doing, they're really passionate about it. It seems like it gives you a little bit of an edge because it keeps you focused, keeps you interested. And it's
Yeah.
obvious that you love what you do.
Thank you. And I do, and you're absolutely correct. That is a big thing of having success is loving what you do because eventually, if you don't, it's going to show and you're not going to succeed, I don't think. I love planning. I love organizing. I love working with couples. We meet so many wonderful people. And I always tell my team, this is their day, this is their one day. And hopefully it's, their only wedding, but this is such an important day and you get to be such a significant part of it and embrace it and give it your all. So it is tiring because of that. We're exhausted after a wedding day. It takes me till about noon the next day because I am wiped out. You do 18, 20,000 steps on a wedding day and it's hard work, but it's very rewarding. It's very fulfilling. And I truly do love what I do. I get people tell me that, they can see that in me, and I appreciate that you see that in me, and it does, it goes a long way. You do have to enjoy what you do, and I truly do.
That is fantastic. I have been asking a lot of questions about your business, but if it's okay, I'd like to ask some personal questions too. My listeners have told me that they like getting to know the folks that are on the show. So I was
Okay.
wondering if you would mind sharing some things about yourself, maybe something that the average person doesn't know, any of your quirks or habits or
Mhm.
hobbies that might just stand out for you.
Um, well, I grew up in Northwest Ohio. I grew up on a pig farm. I have five brothers and one sister, and I, I feel like I know what hard work is, and I do feel like that work ethic was instilled in me on an early age because helped cook with my mom all the time, and we did the yard work, and we assisted with meals in the fields and those kinds of things all the time. So I saw what hard work is and wasn't afraid of that. And then, I mean, I was a cheerleader in high school. I did gymnastics and went to Ohio State University. And let's see, what else quirks about me? Oh gosh, I love my grandkids. I love being with my friends and family, and I love to be outdoors. If I can take a walk and be outside to walk, that's what I just love. And my go-to food is pizza. I love a good pizza. It's
Oh my
really
gosh,
a
yes.
downfall, but I love pizza and I love chocolate, good chocolate. So
One
yeah.
of my favorite pizza places is in your neck of the woods. I don't know if you've been to Bentino's, but that's our
Oh
go-to
yes,
pizza.
yeah, and yeah, we get there too. I have about five or six that
Yeah,
yeah, just rotate. I like them all.
awesome. You mentioned that you know the value of hard work. Do you have any daily routines or rituals or things that you do to kind of prepare yourself for the day or to wrap up for the day that you found have been really helpful for you as a business owner and just also as a person?
hmm Well, I kind of lack a little bit in that area. I've I'm kind of a workaholic at times, so my first thing I do is grab my coffee and I look at my computer, and that is something that I'm telling myself I have to change for 2026 is I always get up and look at my emails and then I work out. I do like to exercise, 4 or 5 times a week. So I always coffee's first thing, try and get a workout in the morning, whether it's in my basement or if it's nice, I'll go walk outside. But, and then evenings look different for me because I usually work 2 evenings a week with meetings or tours. So I do like to just wind down in the evening, honestly, and watch TV. I I'm thinking and planning a lot, so I do like to just unwind with a good movie in the evenings. My husband and I try and agree on a movie, and we'll just, I said, I don't want to have to like think or plan right now. So come about 8:30, 9 o'clock, I'm just like, okay, let's just totally not have to think and then just turn on a good movie, a feel good movie. So that's pretty much every night. I mean, if I'm not with friends or something like that. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I have heard it said that we wake up in the morning with a certain reserve of decision making capacity, and we use that throughout the day as we have to make all of these decisions. And so by the end of the day, I actually think it's pretty important to just give your brain some room to rest and decompress. So I kind of
Yeah.
do the same thing actually in the evenings. So
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
you make a lot of decisions through the day and planning and conversation that, yeah, you hopefully. And when I work late and I have intense meetings, I try to take a little break in the afternoon, maybe, an hour break just to unwind a little bit if I've, worked all morning and I'm doing evaluations or something. I have to give myself a little break. So, yeah.
So you mentioned, like me, coffee is one of the ways that you start your day. How do you take your coffee?
Oh, I know. I'm really bad. I do like a good creamer. I like flavored creamer in my coffee. Winans is my favorite. I drink Winans coffee with a flavored cream, and that's pretty much, what I do. So when I go to a coffee shop, it's a white chocolate mocha, or I'll just do a coffee with some good cream and maybe a flavored syrup in it to sweeten it a little bit.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are my go-tos.
Very good. I just do coffee with cream myself, but I drink so much coffee on my own at the office that when I go to a coffee shop, I'm usually getting tea or like matcha just to mix it up because I've already had
Yeah.
3 or 4 cups of coffee by that point usually. So,
Yeah, I do like a good decaffeinated tea in the evening sometimes too. Not in the summer, but fall, winter, just to have something else to drink. I do like that. So I do like a good tea. Unfortunately, I have to sweeten it sometimes, which is a bad habit, but I have a bad sweet tooth, so.
well, very good. We are winding down, but I do have one last question. And before I ask it, I did want to let people know how they could learn more about you and about Ivory Meadows. And so I'm guessing one of the best ways that they can do that is to go to your website, which is Ivory Meadows Weddings. That's plural, Ivory Meadows Weddings.com. Other than your website, is there any other resource that you would direct people to learn more about your business and yourself?
Uh, well, to learn more about us, I think the website is the best. We are on different social media platforms. We're on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. Um, and then, our contact information is on our website. So we're always happy to answer anybody's questions. Just you can call us, text us, email us. We're happy to answer any questions, clarify anything. You can book a tour that way. So those are the other main ways to get a hold of us.
Perfect. And for all of our listeners that are social media scrollers, I highly recommend the Instagram feed and the Facebook feed. There's a ton of beautiful pictures, photos of recent weddings and events that have taken place. And you just get a sense pretty quickly of how gorgeous Ivory Meadows really is. So now we're down to our final question, and
Okay.
that is this. So imagine that you've been running Ivory Meadows now for 10, 15 years, and you've been invited to an award ceremony, and you've been given a like lifetime achievement award. What would you want that award to be, and who would you thank for it?
I guess I would want the award to reflect my leadership with my team and the service that I've given our couples, the consistent service that we give our couples. I would definitely thank like I said earlier, my husband, Chris, and my team for consistently being who they are, good people, and always executing wonderful weddings. So you can't do this business alone. You'd get burnt out way too quick. So I would think, yeah, focusing on my service and my leadership with my team is really important to me. And like I said, I couldn't have done it without the support of my husband and the people that I brought on. So that's who I would definitely thank and God. So yeah.
I love it. Well, thank you so much, Maria. It's been such a pleasure having you on the show. And to all of our listeners, again, if you want to learn more about Ivory Meadows, you can check them out at ivorymeadowsweddings.com. You can find them also on Facebook or Instagram under the handle Ivory Meadows. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We have a lot more fantastic interviews coming down the pike, and we can't wait to see you on the next show. Have a great day. See you next time.
Thanks for listening to the Home Pro Podcast. Be sure to click subscribe to be notified of future episodes. We'll see you again next time.